And we are live with another episode of Sci Fi Power Hour-ish. And this is the movie review episode. I would have done a movie review on my channel, but I was like, I'll save it for the Sci Fi Power Hour-ish. So without much ado, I'll get my co-host to introduce himself. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, this is Pedophile from Video Game Facts, current veteran of the Sci-Fi Power Hour and the BS Busters. And today we're going to be discussing two movies, which are Black Panther as well as last month's Godzilla Monster Planet.
Yeah, let's do Black Panther last, since it's, I think that'll be the longer review.
Yeah.
And we'll do Godzilla Monster Planet first. So since we're just gonna get into spoilers, I'll let you give the general gist of the story, and then we'll give our thoughts about the movie after you give your
my thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, your thoughts on it. So go ahead. What's the general gist of this movie?
So the general gist of this is got monsters show up, humanity finds a way to get rid of them, but then until Godzilla shows up, humans could not find a way to get rid of him. Then aliens show up, and they too couldn't find a way to get rid of him. So they try to get the humans into space to find a more suitable planet. They failed to find any more suitable planets because they end up killing more people. Then they had no choice but to go back into Earth, and because they somehow found a weakness to defeat the Godzilla. And once they reach back to Earth, they notice that they've been gone for thousands of years. In space logic, even though they've been gone for like a few decades in Earth years.
Yeah, don't think too hard about the science behind this. Just no one, please. Just don't think too hard about the science, but continue.
But yeah, they land to Earth, and they notice that the ecosystem has changed since they last left, with Godzilla being the top, being the apex of the ecosystem. And when they find Godzilla, they know that he's still alive and well but then they realize and once they defeat Godzilla using the exploited weakness, they find out that it wasn't the real Godzilla but an offspring, and that the real Godzilla has grown like over 300 meters for the last thousands of years, and it ends at a cliffhanger with Godzilla defeating the human army.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. So I guess you give your thoughts first, and then I'll give my thoughts, and then we'll go on to Black Panther.
Well, let's see. I know that for one thing, it's going to be a trilogy, which means this is going to be part one. So I won't. And part two is going to be coming out in Japan this May.
Okay.
And I would say so far it looks pretty good. The first part, because there's some unanswered questions I'd like to see answered in the next two films. Like there's some hints that the aliens may not be as trustworthy, as the humans thought. And and I also like to see how Godzilla was able to survive for thousands of years. But of course, being Godzilla, he could do pretty much anything.
Yeah, Godzilla's like Superman or Goku. He just, whatever ability he needs, he just pulls out of his ass and uses it. So, or the Hulk, Godzilla's like the Hulk. It's like whatever ability Godzilla needs, he just pulls out of his ass and uses. And people are like, I can't believe it's impossible. Yeah, it is, but it's Godzilla. That's what he does. Your points.
I also like to know, and of course, in the after credit, there's also an after credit scene where apparently there also exists humans still living on Earth thousands of years from now, perhaps descendants of those who didn't leave, who were left out.
That makes a lot of sense. So
and I wanted to know more about that girl, as well as the other surviving humans like her.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I guess I'll give my. So your overall take is, is it a good movie? Is it a bad movie? Is it okay? Do you hope the second one is better?
So far it's pretty good. Have to wait until the other two films come out to give out my final verdict of Monster Planet.
Okay, all right. That's a fair review. I shall now give my own review and my own rating. Like the story, like you said, the story is your typical Godzilla shows up and just humanity throws everything they have at them. The aliens throw everything they have at them. The other monsters on planet Earth throw everything they have at them, and they can't stop the king of the monsters because it's Godzilla, or from Japan it's Gojira. So then humanity says, "Fuck it, we're leaving." However, when they get to the planet, they were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be perfect. It's not suitable for human life." So they're like, "Shit, okay, let's go back." And when they get back, they discover 20,000 years have passed, and and Godzilla and the other monsters like Godzilla have taken over the planet. It's terraformed the planet, and humanity has no place here. And then basically, they finally defeat one of the Godzillas, but it turns out, no, that was just one of the kids. The real Godzilla wakes up and fucks them up bad. Now, I'll get to the positives first, because there aren't that many in this film. Godzilla has the characteristic kind of unstoppable, like there's nothing you can do, you're fucked, inexorable approach that Godzilla should have in all monster films.
I mean, anytime he moves his tail, it causes a shockwave.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that, but that's neither here nor there. So he does have that quality in this film. The problem, still on positives, not getting to the negatives. The animation for the main characters, and how basically like the characters look, like their suits look raggedy, like they've been through some shit, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that they look, lived in, like they've been through some shit. They have like scuff marks and dirt and stuff.
That's what happens if you live in space for decades.
Yeah, it looks really nice. That's about it. Those are the only two positives I can think of. Now let me get to the negatives. First of all,
does it involve the main protagonist being a whiny guy, being a whiny brat?
You mean a whiny little bitch? Well, I wasn't even going to bring that up because everyone's talked about how he's a whiny little bitch. He's like, my parents were killed by Godzilla. Motherfucker, everyone's parents were killed by Godzilla. You ain't special. The thing that pisses me off is that he's like, well, we're going to go back to Earth. And I'm like, okay, let me get this straight, okay? The people left Earth to go to this planet that was going to be their new home. It turned out it didn't work out. But his decision basically gets more of the colony ships destroyed. So in a way, he actually he's made it work. He's made a bad situation worse by making them go back to Earth. Like they could have found some other planet and maybe tried to terraform that shit or put people into hypersleep or some shit. But no, we need to go back to Earth. So I mean, plot wise, it's kind of iffy. In terms of having a smart protagonist, just kind of stupid, really. The music in this movie is terrible. I'm like, Godzilla films have this huge lexicon of great music from Akira Ifukube.
Too bad he's dead. So
yeah, but they can still use his music. Just because he's dead, they can still use the music because Toho owns a lot of that. They have the rights to it. It's like when John Williams died. You think they're gonna stop using the Star Wars scores? Yeah. Or they do another Indiana Jones. You think they're not gonna have dun 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 dun? No. So, but my point is this. How the fuck are you gonna have a Godzilla film and no Godzilla music? I don't get that. That was a fuck up right there. Number two.
I mean, there have been Godzilla films without Godzilla's main theme, even in the short.
there's there like okay, during the 70s, the Showa era where you had like the more silly, goofy Godzilla films, you're right. They didn't really typically use the Godzilla tune, but the music was appropriate for what was going on screen. The music in this literally does not. It's like this movie doesn't feel like a Godzilla movie. It feels like a low budget anime with Godzilla in it. It doesn't feel like a Godzilla film. And which leads to me the Godzilla thing. I'm like, okay, it's an anime, which means you're not bound by the rules and regulations of back in the day when it was just a guy in a suit. Right?
Yeah.
And yet they don't use any of that freedom that the open world would give you, that the anime would give you. They still wind up making a Godzilla that moves, and pun intended, like he's a wooden tree. It's so slow and plodding. I'm like, you're an anime. This should have action running out of its ass. And instead, it's just, I mean, I've never seen Godzilla moving and it just be so damn boring watching him move. I mean, the animation for Godzilla's movements are just stiff as fuck.
The YouTuber I know, ETN, praised Godzilla's movement in this anime,
and that's his opinion. Everyone is, like, here's the thing. But I knew this movie was in trouble when the guy who came up with it was like, when the guy who's the director was like, this is going to be the biggest Godzilla ever. I'm like, why do you people keep on bragging about how big your version of Godzilla is? You do realize that Godzilla, when he was smaller, fucked up monsters that were much bigger than he was. Like, size for Godzilla does not make him more or less lethal. I mean, I know that seems like a shocker to you people, but it doesn't. Like, Godzilla fought Biollante. Biollante was much bigger than Godzilla. Godzilla fucked Biollante up. Astro Godzilla, he fucked Astro Godzilla up. He beat up the 93 Mecha Godzilla, or not Mecha Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah and King Ghidorah. Bigger than he is, beat it.
And
Orga from Godzilla Millennium was bigger than Godzilla. Godzilla beat it. I mean, so saying this is a huge Godzilla, so what's your point?
I mean, the Godzilla offspring was about the same size as the OG Godzilla in the original Showa series.
Yeah, it still was kind of like you kind of fucked up there a little bit. Just to me. Hopefully the next film in the series will be better. And they'll actually have some better
animation.
Yeah, they got to fix that animation. They like the storyline. I'm like, okay, it's cool that they're now going for Godzilla versus humanity. That's cool, but for me, the best Godzilla films are Godzilla versus other monsters, with humanity on the side saying, "Shit, I can't believe we fuck with that guy. I hope he just doesn't look at us."
There's some Godzilla fans speculating that the alien's god could be King Ghidorah.
Could be. I mean, because that's a playbook they've used a lot in Godzilla films, where the aliens that seem benevolent have their own monster, and it's King Ghidorah or Ghidra, however you want to say it, Monster X, Astro Monster,
or some other monster like Gigan or Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, but Gigan's kind of lame. It's a space chicken, man. It's a space chicken. I mean, I can even do with Megalon, because Megalon's a giant mutant cockroach. But a space chicken, I mean, yeah, it's kind of interesting how it has that buzzsaw in its crotch. but but that's still just kind of like, that's kind of fucked up, really. I mean, but like I said, overall, it was mediocre at best to me. I hope the next Godzilla film is better animated. I hope they realize this is anime. We can have an agile Godzilla that does physics-defying things because it's anime. It's the reason why what?
Is that the reason why we have girls with big gravity-defying breasts?
Well, if you want to go in that direction, but I was gonna say it's the reason why mecha anime, like Sentai shows, live action Sentai shows, look ridiculous. But if you take that same concept and animate it, it looks cool because like you're willing to forgive a lot of stuff because that this defies physics or that shouldn't fit into this because it's animated. And I'm like, why? You guys have this huge Godzilla. You should be making like it's animated. You can make it do all types of physics defying shit. No, we can't do that. That would use the medium. You know?
Right.
Like I don't whatever. But that's just me. So for you, it's a thumbs up. For me, it's a thumbs down. I was kind of, to co-op the double toasted double toasted rating. So you would give it a rental or a matinee or full price or a better than sex or the lowest rating of some old bullshit or fuck this movie. So what's your rating to come up the double toasted rating scale?
I remember that rating scale used on another review channel called The Spills.
Yeah, they were originally on Spill, and they went to double toasted. When Spill died, they made their own thing. I subscribe to them, so I watch a lot of their reviews. So what's your rating, sir? What's your rating?
Let's see, I give it so far matinee.
All right. I give it some old bullshit. Hopefully the next one will be better, but like I don't put much faith in a movie where they say, well, the next one will be better, because how many movies have come out and they're like, I'm setting up something big, the next one will be better, and that first movie is so bad that the next one never comes. So you're just left with one really shitty movie, like Fantastic Four Stick. So I can't say, like, people who are using that excuse to give these people the benefit of the doubt. Well, they're setting up something. The next one will be better. It's one in the series. Yeah, but look at the really good movie series that exist. They exist because at least the first movie was good. Like, you can't build a series on one shitty movie and then the next one, well, if you give me some money, the next one will be good. No.
Unless you want to go to the straight to video route with the sequels.
I mean, I know this is on Netflix, but I'm treating this as a movie. Like, I'm treating this as a normal release movie. So I can't give them the benefit of it. Like, I can't grade them on a curve just because they're on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like no one else would get that pass. Like because if I'm going by that pass, I should be like with Fantastic Four Stick, the one from 2014 that was a piece of shit. I should be like, well, the next movie will be good. I know this one was terrible, but the next one they'll get it right. No, I can't. This is not a movie. This is not a TV series where it's like the pilot. Sometimes the pilot sucks and then it gets better as time goes on. But I mean, a series has 10 plus episodes to get shit together, typically speaking.
Right.
A movie has that one shot to wow you, and if it doesn't, it loses you. And for me, this was like, as a Godzilla fan, and I'm not saying this is someone who just watches, like, I'm a kaiju fan. I watch tons of kaiju films. I watched, like, I like Gamera, I like Gojira, I like the Mighty Peking Man, I like Toho's other monster films. I like their movies, I really do. Kaiju films, and I'm saying as a kaiju film, this one doesn't feel like a kaiju film, and as a Godzilla movie, I'm like, it doesn't really feel like a Godzilla movie. It feels like an anime where Godzilla pops up, does some shit, then disappears for a while. It's like, whatever, bro.
People said this. Some fans said the same thing about the 2014 and Shin Godzilla.
And I mean, if you look at my review for 2014 Godzilla, I said the music for this sucks. It's cool that Godzilla fights other monsters. I like that. His atomic breath is a little weak, but It's the American Godzilla. They had to do something. Shin Godzilla just looks weird. There's something off about that version of Godzilla. I don't know what. I can't describe it, but it's off. So,
Time to move on to Black Panther.
It's time to move on to Black Panther. This is a spoiler-free review, so yeah. I won't be going into spoilers. The only thing I'll say that isn't spoiler-free is that he doesn't die in this film, because obviously he's going to be in Infinity War because you've seen his ass in the trailers. So
yeah,
so that's not a spoiler. He's going to whatever he goes through in Black Panther, he's going to come out on the other side having won. Okay, just know. Okay. That being said, this film is glorious. Yeah, it's glorious. This film is so good. This film is so good. It's so good. It's so good. I can't even really. Hey, J1TM. I don't know who you are, but how's it going on the chat? Yeah, Black Panther is really good. It's really, really good.
It also answered some of my questions before watching the film, after watching the trailers.
And what questions would those be?
Like how was Wakanda, as advanced as the city it is, was able to be undetected? The answer: it was all on the cloaking. It was under a cloaking device. So like Wakanda disguised itself as a third world country.
Yeah. I like the movie. I like the characters. I like the plot. I like how Ryan Coogler, the director, like there's nothing in this movie that isn't set up and paid off later on. Like even things that happened earlier in the first act where it's like that's just a one-off line, it doesn't mean anything, has a payoff later on down the line. And I love that shit. I love it. Everything has a payoff. Like even from the first scene of the movie, the very first scene of the movie, there is a setup and a payoff that has meaning to later on in the film. And I love that shit. This movie should be shown just for how to do a competent film. I wish Zack Snyder would be forced to sit down and watch this fucking movie and learn how to make how to do setup and payoff with films. Because I mean, you know, the setup and payoff works. Everything is set up and there's a payoff. Everything.
Even the side characters have their own moments in this film.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's almost every single, even the side characters. Like one of my favorite characters in the movie isn't even one of them. She's not even the main character, but I like her. She fucks shit up. With a spear, son. A spear. Just a spear. So,
and we should also mention that it also has one of the best villains in the MCU, followed by Loki and the Vulture.
Oh yeah. I have to say I like Michael B. Jordan as a villain more than I like Michael Keaton. Just because I'm old enough to remember Michael Keaton as Batman, and it just feels weird to see Batman as a villain to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable seeing Batman as a villain. But like to me, it goes Eric Killmonger has superseded Loki because Loki's just kind of a dick. Whereas with Killmonger, I'm like, I don't agree with this guy's ideas. I don't agree with his methods, but his motivation, I can't get mad at him because I mean, I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, the moment I was seeing how he became the way he is, I understand completely what position he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, typically when you see a villain, it's like, well, I mean, this person's clearly a villain, and he's kind of a dick, or this person is clearly insane. with Eric Killmonger, you're like, yeah, I can understand why he is the way he is. As a matter of fact, it's pretty easy to see the line of from which he came from to where he went, to where it began, to where his inevitable conclusion, and it's done really well. And I mean, the film really takes things from the Black Panther comics, which before anyone says anything to me, I'm a Black Panther fanboy. I have the Fantastic Four issues the issue that has Black Panther's start in it. I have the early Black Panther issues where he fights Eric Killmonger in the comics, and he's thrown from a waterfall, and it's in this fucking movie. It is. I'm like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do? Oh shit! They did it, these sons of bitches. This is the wonder of having people in control of your cinematic universe who fucking read the comics, and not just some assholes like, this character's too hard to write for. I'm just gonna write my own stupid ass shit. David Goyer. So anyway, this film is really good. I really can't. I would tell. I've seen it twice already. I might go see it again next week if I feel like it. Yeah.
And one thing I have to say is that remember a few podcasts back I mentioned this one how Black Pigeon Speaks made a video about how the Black Panther movie was going to be the one movie that the alt-right deserves because he follows the same policies as the alt-rights believed in, which is having one country isolated from the rest of the country. Well, they're not going to enjoy the mid-credits scene.
Oh no. As a matter of fact, there's a point in the movie early on before the mid-credits where and this is, I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's a character in the film that's close to T'Challa, and he's like he literally says that alt-right bullshit where he's like, if we have immigrants come to Wakanda, they'll bring no problems, and we can't do that. He's like, yeah, but I mean, we could do something to help these people. No, we can't. And then later on in the film, it's like he's like, we can do something to help these people. We don't need to become a charity, but we can do what we can in order to show people that there's a better way. And I think the MCU has really set itself up in a really good position with T'Challa with Black Panther, because the way things are now, if Robert Downey Jr. shows his ass and says, fuck you guys, I'm leaving, they could easily have Black Panther take over as the Iron Man character.
Definitely.
And to be honest with you, T'Challa would be much better as being the leader of the Avengers, because Iron Man sucks. He's a terrible leader. Almost every single problem that happens to the Avengers is because of some shit Tony Stark did. He keeps on bringing shit on to other people.
If you're going to mention Ultron, then I have to tell you that Ultron did nothing wrong. He did what he had to do.
Well, let me put it this way. Ultron did what he had to do according to his own logic. But here's the thing. Logic that isn't tempered with compassion and mercy and empathy is tyranny.
Right. And that is perhaps the only way to save this entire planet.
And that was the problem with Ultron, was that he was like, well, I'm going to save the world by killing everybody, which is literally, that's the most illogical thing ever. But if you follow his logic that humanity is a virus that needs to be wiped out so that there can be peace, well, yeah, if everyone's dead, there is peace, because look, go to a graveyard, it's peaceful as hell over there, but I mean, it's also everyone's dead. So, logically, logic that's not tempered with compassion, mercy, and empathy is not, that's tyranny. That's not a very logical thing. On the other hand, once again, like, Tony Stark created Ultron. Tony Stark, even you could say, even with Wanda, the Crimson Witch, and Silver, forget his name.
Quicksilver?
Yeah, Quicksilver. Like the whole reason they hate Tony Stark is some shit he did. It's like Tony Stark is the like even in the first Iron Man, if he had taken control over his company and not been such a playboy and actually looked into how they made their money, the terrorists wouldn't have gotten the weapons that they were using that messed up himself. So literally, Tony Stark, almost everything that happens with Tony Stark, he brings on himself. He brings onto himself. So he's a terrible, terrible character. Like he's a terrible hero. He might be cool. People might like him as a character, but he's not a very good hero.
Yeah.
You know, he's the anti-Spider-Man, if you will.
And Spider-Man idolizes him in this universe.
Well, he idolized him. I think by the end of Homecoming, he's like, you know what, Tony, you're a piece of shit. Like, I think even Peter Parker's like, this dude's a total piece of shit. Everyone who knows Tony knows he's a piece of shit. I don't know why people are surprised that Tony Stark is a piece of shit.
So I wonder if the mid-credits hints that Planet Earth's going to be well prepared against the invasion from Thanos in Infinity War.
Well, I think they're gonna. I think you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see a lot of hidden. Like, here's why it would have been cool had Infinity War come out next year, and they could have added like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, because that would have been even more impressive. Like, you have the people from Wakanda popping out. You've got the X-Men popping out. You've got Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four popping out. Like, that shit would have been awesome. Hell, if they even threw Namor's ass out there, I'm Prince Namor, the Submariner. Yes, how do you like my Speedo, ladies? Yes, he really does. Well, they used to be shorts, but now they're a Speedo. But still, the Submariner, what an awesome character.
So, continuing on with the whole MCU talk, did you hear about Fox trying to make their own Kitty Pryde movie?
Yeah, I'm glad they shut that shit down. I mean, I'm glad Marvel shut that shit down. I'm glad. Like, this is the only time that I can say that I'm happy that people went and got their shit back. Like, I'm glad that Marvel went and got their shit back, because, like, if they were gonna, like, here's the thing. Now is not the time to make a Kitty Pryde movie. They should have made a Kitty Pryde movie between Days of Future Past to introduce the character. Because if you read the comics, Days of Future Past, that is Kitty Pryde's comic run. Shadowcat's comic run is that. That's when she gets to show that she's a badass. And they fucked that up. No, it's about Wolverine, son. I'm like,
weren't all the X-Men movies about him?
Yeah, basically, all of them were about Wolverine. Like, fuck all the other characters. It's all about Wolverine. We don't talk about, forget all those other characters.
And you also heard the news that Black Widow's finally getting her own solo movie.
Yeah, it took forever. I mean, I'm not going to knock it.
And there's speculation that it could be the first R-rated MCU movie because of her backstory.
It would have to be. It would have to either be an R rating. Like, it would make sense for it to be an R rating. It would have to be. Maybe they could tell how she met Clint Barlow.
Right.
Like, that would be an interesting story, because they have some history together, but, like, how the hell did they meet? Because Clint Barlow is. I mean, he doesn't scream to me,
Like, he's not that popular enough to get his own solo flick.
Yeah, he's not popular enough, but he's an interesting enough character that he should be there, but he's not interesting enough that he,
to get his own movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I like Clint Barlow, though. I think he's a cool character.
And I'm also wondering if Ant-Man and the Wasp will take place before or after the events of Infinity War.
It might be before or after. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I don't know where they're going to go with this. With that story. Because it's going to be its own thing,
Yeah, just like how Panther, like how the Black Panther movie is feels like its own thing.
Well, but there's enough stuff in the Black Panther movie. Like the Black Panther movie literally takes place a week after the events of, like maybe 2 or 3 days after the events of
Civil War.
So if like even though Ant-Man and Wasp is coming out after Infinity War, it's probably going to take place chronologically between Infinity War and Civil War, which makes a lot of sense.
Right. So yeah, I really don't mind so long as they explain what timeline these movies are taking place in before, so that way the audience won't have to be confused after watching the last movie of the MCU.
I mean, as long as the film basically just, you know,
as long as the film is good, yeah. Still thinking?
No, I mean, as long as the film does what it needs to do and it's good, I mean, that's all that matters.
Right. Let's see. And I've been hearing that even people who hate comic book movies really enjoyed the Black Panther movie. So which means
it is really good though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get mad because it's a good movie. You know, definitely. I can't be like, oh no, man, don't do that. It's good. I mean, like if you don't watch comic book movies, you can watch Black Panther and still get something out of it, which is something that's very rare. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there are very few comic book films that you can watch standalone. Like you can watch Black Panther standalone, and you don't really
feel lost.
Yeah, you don't feel lost because it has no real connection with the. I mean, it has a connection, but it's not. It's very tertiary. It's not even secondary. It's like, okay, I know who Martin Smith is. I know who Claw is. You know, because the first time you saw him was in Age of Ultron, where he got his arm cut off. Yeah, and they killed his ass. Well, I mean, spoiler alert, but we won't get into spoilers too much. But basically, so I mean, let's give our ratings. You know, is it better than Sex? Is it a high full price? Is it a matinee? Is it some old bullshit, or is it fuck this movie?
Full price for me.
Full price. I'm gonna say it's. And people are gonna say you're being biased. I'm gonna say it's better than Sex. For a Marvel movie, it's better than Sex. And the reason I say this is because this film is not only enjoyable, it's a genuinely well-made movie. You know, it's one of the it shows Marvel having a willingness to do something different. Because this movie is very political. It talks about geopolitical politics. It talks about wealth distribution. It talks about,
racial politics.
Racial politics, colonization. Talks about a lot of stuff. And it's like, this is a fucking Disney movie. Look, we've come a long way from Zippity-Doo-Dah, that racist piece of shit Song of the South, with Brer Rabbit and Brer Bear and Brer Fox and Dumbo with those damn crows. But we've come a long way. I think this movie is like Disney's apology for years of fucking up with black people, like The Lion King, a movie set in Africa on the African savannah. And most of the people voicing the characters are white people, except for James Earl Jones as Mufasa. Because come on, come on.
And 2 out of 3 of the hyenas.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 of the hyenas and Rafiki. But everybody else, is a white person. Come on, man. That's just some bullshit right there. I mean, okay, in other ethnicities, but I mean, if you're gonna have a movie set in Africa, come on, come on. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna see if we have any questions in the Q&A section.
Do you expect Michael B. Jordan to get Oscar nominated next year because of his performance in?
No, they never nominate for. They never nominate for superhero films. It's sad because he did a really good role, but they never nominate for it. They just, it's just one of those things. You're never going to see a superhero film. Let me put this: if Superman didn't get an Oscar, an Academy Award, 1978, 79's Richard Donner Superman, then nothing is going to get a nomination.
I mean, The Dark Knight was able to get nominated.
Yeah, but that was because that was the Heath Ledger died Oscar. Like, if he hadn't died, he wouldn't have gotten it. That was this guy died instead of flowers. Here's an Oscar. Although that is a really good role, but
yeah, I mean, I've been told several times that was the sole reason why Dark Knight was ever nominated in the first place, because of Heath Ledger's death. In fact, I've seen a few parody videos talking about how a celebrity's death could warrant any movie Oscar nominations.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but that's just the way it is. But that's just me. So yeah, it's a great movie. Go out and watch it. We will do a spoiler review next week. Same bat time, same bat place. Anything you want to bring up before we wrap things up?
Nope.
Pinky? All right. So, well, I'm going to pimp out my own stuff. I have some videos coming out this weekend. I'll be uploading some Tavern Tales videos and such. And stay tuned tomorrow where we will be doing BS Busters from 7 to 8:30, talking about the importance of sifting through the bullshit. The topics we'll be tackling tomorrow in BS Busters will be EA possibly losing the Star Wars license, according to rumor.
Hopefully that's true.
Yeah, hopefully that's true. Who we think should get it. How the license should be handled. We'll also talk about Colin Moriarty's glowing review of the Xbox One. I'm being facetious like that. I'm telling you, man, his face was pressed so far up Apple's butt that I'm surprised if they farted, he didn't know what they ate. But so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about
we could also talk about other YouTube channels that somehow put Nintendo on a negative light, such as Commonwealth Realms, Nintendo PlayStation Video, as well as Clean Price Gaming.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about it, and then our special topic for tomorrow will be what game needs a second chance. Like, it needs to be revamped, brought to a modern time. We're talking about old games that kind of got panned at the time. Maybe it was due to limitations of technology. Maybe the audience just wasn't there for it. Maybe it was ahead of its time. Maybe it was just so different that needs to be brought back and given a second chance. Maybe a redo, a revamp, or conversely, a game that desperately needs needs a revamp because the first bite at the apple was rotten. So those are the topics for tomorrow's BS Busters. Stay tuned, enjoy, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Don't be afraid to make comments in the comment section. As long as they're not disrespectful, I'll try to answer them. And good day.
Don't be afraid to join in, because we don't want it can't be just the two of us.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, if you wanna be into if you want to join the chat. Yeah, if you want to join the chat, we're not going to get upset. You can always join, and we can talk about it. It'll be friggin' awesome. So with that being said, good night. Arrivederci. Peace. And go watch Black Panther. and say hail to the king. Hail to the king of Wakanda.